kid. Don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead.
Hey K-pop lovers! You're tuned in to K-pop Fair, where every story hits your heart like your favorite beat. What if the truest love story never needed a script? What if it lived in the pauses, in the breath between two names we already know by heart? Tonight, let's rewind to the moment that made silence feel like proof. A grainy plane cabin flickers into view, and the world shrinks to a row of seats and a soft lane. Taehyung's head finds Jungkook's shoulder as if it was always waiting there. For a second, the engines hush and time forgets to move. No stage cues, no spotlight, no performance notes taped to a mirror. Just recycled air, aisle light, and a shoulder that fits like home. Sometimes the most cinematic scenes are the ones no one planned to shoot. You could call it fan service, but the moment rejects the label the way a heartbeat refuses to sync with a metronome. There's a difference between a pose and a refuge. This was the latter, quiet and unafraid. Every time that clip returns, it doesn't just repeat, it ripens. New eyes notice old truths hiding in the edges of the frame. The 10th watch feels like the first confession. Two silhouettes in aisle light become two lives, stitched together by stubborn little comforts. You start to recognize the thread, subtle, steady, unbreakable. It's ordinary, which is why it matters. It wasn't loud, and it wasn't performative, but it said everything without asking for applause. Honesty has a small voice and a long echo. We heard it anyway. A caption tried to give it a name, and somehow it echoed what millions were already whispering. Words are clumsy around feelings that prefer touch over grammar. Still, the sentiment landed and stayed. Friends, colleagues, and the people who pass them between flights seem to nod with quiet knowing. You can't fake the ease that shows up when no one's keeping score. Familiarity always leaves fingerprints. Watch the eyes. They check in like old habits. Half smiles landing with the soft weight of history. Whole conversations happen where the camera never thinks to look. They never had to announce anything, because the ordinary kept doing the announcing for them. The daily makes better trailers than any edit ever could. Routine is where real stories hang their coats. And yet, the internet has its weather, and storms love a headline. Comment counts turn into thunder, hot takes into lightning. Somewhere in the noise, that plain little moment keeps burning like a candle. Some corners of the fandom bristled, insisting on a different script. As if tenderness were a plot hole that needed patching. As if softness were a scandal. If it were all choreography, why do posts retreat when the backlash drowns out the music? Why does a quiet moment feel brave enough to be archived? Manufactured scenes don't need shelter. Real ones sometimes do. Most of us just smiled at the quiet and let the scene breathe. Not every truth wants a podium. Sometimes it just wants a window and a little light. Truth rarely brings a marching band. It hums like engines when the cabin lights go dim. It isn't here to persuade. It's here to exist. And that is often enough. Taehyung's warmth, Celine or plain white tea, reads less like branding and more like open windows. There's a breeze in it, a softness that doesn't need a caption. It's the kind of glow that comes from being seen and being safe. Beside Jungkook, that warmth rounds into something complete. Like puzzle edges finally finding where they were meant to live. Click. Suddenly the picture makes sense. The industry can be a maze of mirrors, reflections on reflections. But real moments are fingerprints you can't buff out. They stay, even under stage lights. Companies can storyboard an image, but they don't get final cut on what time edits. Shared meals, missed flights, and tired laughter write stronger scripts. The credits roll where the cameras aren't. Backstage laughter, midnight check-ins, the relief of reunion after days that felt longer than they looked. These are the scenes that survive. They don't trend, they accumulate. And then one day they shine through a plain window. They're not perfect, not perpetual, not crammed into every frame together. That's how human things breathe. Space doesn't break a bond, it proves it has lungs. Sometimes it's the way one listens and the other softens. A shoulder drops, a room exhales. Peace is a language too. Sometimes it's an orbit, work, distance, drift, and then the gentle swing back. Gravity doesn't announce itself. It just keeps working. We recognize the pull by the return. Airports, dinners, soundchecks, a quiet booth in a too-loud city. Their map redraws itself around the same home point. Not always obvious, always there. Familiar roads rarely brag about where they lead. That plain moment felt like a postcard from someplace tender. For words on the back, I'm comfortable with you. Sometimes comfort is the loudest love. Love doesn't always bring receipts. It leaves a trail of small kindnesses you can only trace with your own pulse. If you know, you know. Our job isn't to interrogate a feeling until it confesses. It's to leave the door open and keep the lights warm. Some truths walk in only when they're not hunted. Not everyone will watch the same scene and see the same thing. That's okay. Every heart writes its own subtitles. What matters is the quiet that follows. For some of us, Taekook isn't a verdict. It's a weather pattern. You feel it in the air before the rain, in the way everything hushes. Forecast. Soft. So when the clip resurfaces and time slows to meet it, remember how much meaning fits into silence. A shoulder, a sigh, a shared ease that doesn't need an audience. Sometimes the smallest frame holds the whole film. That's it from K-pop Fair, your ultimate K-pop destination. Remember, stay sparkling and always follow your heart. See you in the next one.
I'll make it look like I'm losing. Won't bother hiding my bruises.